Hey guys, Nick here, and today we will be seeing how Rick, among many others, will deal with the losses they have experienced from Alpha and the Pike scene, and which specific characters, besides Carol, are going to take the mantle to go and kill Alpha. Because Carol isn't quite the person of vengeance she is in this story, as she was in the original. Anyways, this is part
23
to What If Rick Spared Shane, the remake. Now, the whole Hilltop and Kingdom deal is not going to happen from the people having to go in the Winter Storm to Hilltop, because since the Kingdom is in much better condition, it's not really a problem here. So that whole tidbit is out of the way. Which means that Negan is never going to save Judith out in the cold, which isn't the hugest deal, but it's still something to point out. Negan doesn't really do that and find another way to redeem himself. But he still does talk to Judith from time to time, and, he's still the same Negan at this part of the story. It's just that little part's not available to him for him to redeem himself. Now, the whole thing with Eugene getting the radio at Hilltop and everything, that still goes per normal. And then we get to the entrance of Season 10, or kinda earlier, depending on how the story would function with seasons at this point. It's a whole deal. Just since it's training day and everything, just imagine that it's Season 10 territory. I don't know why I have to explain that, but yeah. Anyways, training day. And there are a lot more people here, and the people that were originally there and now are here in this story have not had most of the changes happen to them, like Aaron, and there's a lot more people. But one specific person during the missile crash is not there. Morgan. Because we all know how Morgan reacted whenever Richard got Benjamin killed in the original story. So Alpha doing it to Benjamin is not gonna truly sit well with Morgan. Now, Carol and Ezekiel, sure, they're upset about the loss of Benjamin, but Henry's still around, and the only reason Carol went after Alpha then is because Henry died. Henry's still around, so I feel that Morgan would be the only one in Carol's place to go find Alpha. And when we get to the scene of Alpha stepping out and looking up, she does not see Carol just staring down at her. She stares at a sight that she did not expect to see. Morgan is straight up on the mountain ledge with a gun in his hand, ready to fire, about to avenge Benjamin. And sure, Alpha expected someone to get revenge, but not such a surprise like this, even to herself. Morgan's just about to shoot the shot right at Alpha's forehead when he is knocked straight to the ground with a back hit. And who is this mysterious assailant that stopped Morgan from killing Alpha? Why, it was none other than Rick Grimes. Because Rick kind of figured, with him knowing how well Morgan was in the Kingdom and Benjamin and all that, that Morgan or someone else would try and do this. And sure, Alpha killed Shane and all that and everything else, but I'll get to that more in a minute. Morgan gets up seeing that Rick stopped him from killing Alpha, points his gun directly at Rick. And Rick says that if they're going to kill Alpha, now is not the time. This is basically like Carol, except it's Rick and Morgan and not Daryl and Carol, or, like Carol and Michonne. So it's kind of the same thing, except different characters. But Morgan ain't backing down, and Rick ain't gonna let Morgan kill Alpha like this. So the two get into a fight, which they haven't since Season 3. Think of how crazy that is. Now, Alpha, looking at this, doesn't really know what to think. but I think that she would justify this as being right in her cause to be a part of her whisperers and the leader, to be apart from this different breed of people who are killing each other basically over what to do with her. And while they're not looking, Alpha just walks away. No big deal. And Rick and Morgan are so into what they're doing right now. It kind of sounded wrong, I don't know. But anyways, they're so into the fight that they don't see her walking away. And Morgan is not relenting one little bit and tells Rick to back off. And he should know more than anyone about what it's like to lose someone important to them. After all, he lost Shane and everything else. So he should know more than anyone that Morgan has to do this. Rick says, yes, that might be true, but he still has some form of humanity in him. Because remember, Shane is the only person close to Rick here in this story that has died. Lori's still alive, Carl's still alive, and Judith is still around. So Rick is not backing down and does everything he can to convince Morgan to just stop. And whenever Morgan brings up Shane, sure, Rick is upset at this, but Morgan saved his life. He's not going to kill him or anything like that. He did in season 3. He's not going to now. But when he finally convinces Morgan to not kill Alpha, they turn and Alpha's gone. And as much as Morgan wants to go after and just end this, Rick says that there's a time and a place for that. And if they do this now, they're basically just signing themselves up to die. They can't just kill Alpha on their own and expect nothing bad to happen, even if the supposed second-in-command Beta is dead. They can't underestimate the Whisperers, because Alpha was able to behead a lot of their friends without Beta, so just think of what she can do on her own, and with all of her horde and her people. Speaking of Beta, now that Beta is dead as of the last part, Gamma is appointed to the new Beta. And even if she wasn't because of this, which I definitely feel wouldn't be the case, because it just seemed how things would work that Gamma would be the new Beta if Beta did not return, or if he was killed. Yeah, it's a whole thing. But whenever Mary, or Gamma's sister, tries to kill Alpha and then gets killed herself, if Mary wasn't already appointed to Beta then, she definitely would be now. So, yeah. But even though that's the case, Alpha still misses Beta because they were close. I mean, sure, Beta had disagreements about how Alpha works sometimes, but even when he disagreed with her, he still bowed to her, or kneeled to her rather, and still appreciated her because Alpha helped him and everything else. So they basically helped each other in a way. And whenever Alpha has the monument for Lydia, even though she's not dead, she doesn't get caught by anyone because I feel that without Beta, the secret would be kept that Lydia is alive. For now. Now, during the missile crash and everything, or the satellite crash, Ezekiel's cancer is made known to the group like it is before. Small side note, I know from what I was just talking about, but still, worth to point out, any small detail matters in a story, as far as I'm concerned. Alexandria still gets stormed by zombie hordes day after day, and that goes pretty much the same, except they're able to get far more sleep and far more food, because the Saviors didn't do as much to any of the communities as they did in the original story, and there's far more people. Negan and Aaron still go out on the run like they do, except Eric is still alive, and Negan's men didn't kill him. So that does not mean that Aaron likes Negan. It just means that the hatred for him is suppressed a lot. But he still doesn't like him. And even if Eren were to do something close to killing Negan, Eric would be there and would likely talk him out of it. Likely aiming his gun or just having, a romantic sesh to try, or a romantic pep talk. Let's just leave it at that. I don't want to come off too wrong here. Anyways, Jesus would also likely be with them because Eren and Jesus kinda had a thing going whenever Eric was dead, but I just feel that he would be around them regardless. Gotta stick him somewhere since he's still around in the story. Now, Beta, the new Beta, Mary, tells the group about Alpha wanting to meet them at the border, and that goes the same, except she would likely declare that she's the new Beta, or something like that, some form of hint that the Whisperers aren't backing down, or something like that. I feel that her announcing this to the group would definitely make them more likely to comply, knowing that the Whisperers are far from giving up. Now, who goes? Rick, Lori, Michonne, Daryl, Negan. All of them are the ones that go to meet Alpha at the border. Now, that means we're not going to get Carol flipping out on Alpha when she brings up Henry, because Henry's alive, as I've mentioned several times. So, that's not going to happen. And another thing. Does Morgan go? No, and no. Absolutely not. Why, you may ask? Oh, I'm sure with all of you knowing Morgan and The Walking Dead, you could pick up what I'm putting down. If he were to go, he's, at this point, in the clear mindset. So that means that he's not going to know what he's doing. And if he was brought, he would just go and kill Alpha and get himself killed. He's not in the right state of mind. Rick knows this. Does that mean that Morgan won't follow the same path as Carol and try and kill Alpha another way? Like using Negan or just killing Alpha himself? That will happen. He just won't be here like Carol was. So, with all of this in mind, how will the story play out from here? Do you think that Morgan will go out of his way to disobey Rick and just kill Alpha right at the border? Or do you think that it's going to play out further and Morgan will use someone to kill Alpha or just plan to do it himself in a better way? That's where we leave things for the moment. Hope you guys enjoyed this part and are enjoying What If Rick Spared Shane the remake, because the story is slowly coming to an end. It's going to be, I'd say, 2 to 3 parts max before this series comes to a close. So, leave a thought on the episode, and stay tuned for next one.